Okay. Give me a sec, y'all. Give me a sec. Had to reset my setup up. Hey Teresa, how you doing? Be back soon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you will be back soon. It's probably slander. What's going on? Hold on, I'm about to drop the link, man. I'm messing around with. I've never gone live on the channel, so a lot of my stuff wasn't set up right. Give me a sec. Copy. Yeah, give me a sec, y'all. This is like my first. I'm making like this is my first time. Jesus Christ, yeah, having to set my stuff back up really messed me up. I wanted to be a ticker. Yeah, I wanted to be the ticker. Okay, cool. Ah, give me a sec. Like I'm still playing with. Can I change my avatar? Where is it at? Okay. Okay, yeah, this works. Give me a second. I'm getting it together. It's ain't gonna be a long live. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. A little rusty. Yeah, I'm not. Here's that. I just went live last night, but whole new setup. So I got to get the gear for. But in fact, while I'm doing this is just a test run anyway. Let me see if I can. I want something in the background. Where do I want to go? Yeah, I had to reset, restart the computer and all of that stuff, man. So, all right, let's try this one. Save image. Okay, cool. Give me a sec, y'all. I'm getting it together. In the background and files. Hopefully this works. Let's see. Good luck, Charm. How you doing? Yeah, I'm kind of fumbling around. It's like this is my first time in the water, but it's not. But anyway, just wanted to finally do something with this channel and go live. I want to focus. It's gonna be okay. Is it up? Is it ready? Still uploading. Okay. I'm going to use this channel to talk about, manga, anime, that kind of stuff. Also do a little movie talk while I'm doing this. Give me a sec. Okay, where's my background? Oh, this sucks. Wait, bring this back here. Bring this over here. There we go. All right. Yeah. Talking about manga, anime, that kind of stuff, nerd stuff. Will be some video game talk. While I'm thinking about video game, because I was on the sticks a little bit earlier. What was I playing? Claire Obscure, Expedition 33. To me, game of the year. I have I've beaten the main stuff, doing post game stuff now. But it was a surprisingly great game. I didn't hear a lot of hype about it coming out. It was more from a smaller developer. I was like everybody else waiting for GTA to kind of come out. But that got pushed back to next year. And this game just kind of just fell into my lap. And I have this is game for me, game of the year, one of the best games I played in a very, very, very long time. Because it reminds me of old school um JRPGs that were turn based, but it's also got that live action kind of mix to it. So if you are a gamer, you got it on on Steam or the PS. I'm an Xbox man through and through. Check it out. Check it out. You'll like the mechanics are simple enough to pick up. And like I said, it is turn based, but it's got a twist on it because it is some live action parts in regards to dodging and parrying and that kind of stuff. And it's very intuitive system, very entertaining system to play with. But yeah, it's for me game of the year. But anyway, let's kind of get into the topic of tonight's show. Game of the year. What do you have as game Ghost? Listen, and I would say for me, let's slam it. You gotta play it. You gotta. I'm telling you, and it's the reason why a lot of people are saying game of the year. Already, it's that good because we're not just talking about the gameplay, the soundtrack for it. I mean, just the story of it it's really an adult kind of it's dope, man. You got to try it out. You got to try it out. But anyway, um, good luck, Charm. I'm trying to figure out. You know what? Don't even worry about it. Um, as always, this is a safe space. But anyway, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title of the the live stream, like who is really the go. And I'm gonna get into for my straw hats, I'm getting into that One Piece stuff. But I was kind of just sitting back thinking, you know, out of the big four, like who is really the GOAT? I mean, right now, DBZ, I don't want to say nation because that's somebody that I know, but the DBZ universe is kind of check it out. Yeah, check it out, man. Um, the DBZ is kind of on hiatus. Dragon Ball Super and that kind of stuff is not as consistent as far as like releases and stuff is coming out. Then you have Bleach, which is a discontinued, but one of the greatest of all time. Ichigo and that whole story with Stern Ritters and Arrancar and all of that kind of stuff. Then you have One Piece, which is probably the longest running manga series that I can think of, and we're talking about 20 plus years of actually running. And when if you had to pick, if you had to introduce, and when I say had to pick, this is a situation I had to introduce, manga and anime to a family relative. I'm just going to say that a very young family relative, and I wanted them to be introduced to it, much in the same manner that I was introduced to the genre. So many, so. As far as longevity, One Piece, but Bleach and Naruto has a special. Listen, Naruto, this. Germ. Listen, welcome to the show, man. Have you watched all of the Devouring? Well, haven't watched all of it yet. As far as the leverage, I say One Piece with Bleach and Naruto. This One Piece, and I'm gonna talk about One Piece in a minute because this is the only one that's like really still kind of. I don't count Boruto, even though it is still coming out on a monthly basis. I don't really count it in that realm of the universe. But I would say, if I had to introduce them, like I said, back to, had to introduce them into the genre. And, going with the big four is usually the safest bet when you're trying to introduce, because, those are mainstream. Some people may have heard references in songs and seen those characters and stuff like that. I had, and I had to kind of pick, like, who would I want? It's like, do I want them to come into the most current manga or anime that's still kind of going, and that's One Piece. But is it too much for you to kind of get into the history and the lore, and because you're talking about a lot of chapters, a lot of events, a lot of unanswered questions, and that's for people who's been following for years who are not, like, do you really want to introduce a new fan into that? Moving on to Naruto, I mean, it is the perfect, and it's laid out the perfect way. But who's the new big four is what who's the new big four? I don't even know. Listen, Slam, I don't even think it is a big four, a new big four. When you look at Hunter x Hunter was cool. I like Demon Slayer. I'm excited for. I don't know if I think the movie comes out this month. For the final arc. I know it drops in theaters, but I'm waiting for that to come out. Um, but like I said, Naruto is set up the perfect way for a small child to kind of get into it. It's because it's not as it's rooted in Japanese culture, but it is not as overwhelming with the ninjas and that kind of stuff. And and then it starts with the characters being young, being kids, younger, young, growing into young adults, growing into adults, and going on from there. So that will be a great starting point for someone very young coming into the genre. Then you kind of look on the other side. You have a little bit of that with the Bleach series. It's got some comedy kind of mixed in there with some of the interaction between some of the characters. Then it starts to get serious as it goes on. But then you have DBZ. Then you have that Dragon Ball universe that you're starting off with small Goku with the original Dragon Ball series. Then you go from that to Z, and of course the GT and the Super and all the other iterations of it. And I had to kind of like decide which one I want to introduce them to. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It may not be a popular. You can't name a big four right now. Most of them can't stand the test of time. Listen, Germ. I thought, and I enjoyed the manga, but I was enjoying the anime even more. And we're gonna talk about that in a second. Is Jujutsu Kaisen. I like that. Um, I like what they was doing. They were doing that, but then the studio stopped doing the anime. But the manga kind of sped through it a little too much for me. But it was good, but it was too much. Um, Solo leveling. I've gotten through that, and that has been good because it's not beating you over the head with a lot of you know history and all. But back to the one I picked for oh Jesus. Back to the one I picked finally for to introduce, and I introduced them to the DBZ universe because there's so many different iterations of it. But here's one thing that constantly has remained that there's been a constant in all the iterations of it. The focus on childlike young characters. When you talk about young Goku, you move on to Z. Having Gohan as a child, moving on from there, to Goten and that kind of stuff. Young Trunks, and it gives them a character that they can relate to, and it's just hey, we're here to fight. It's not a lot of intricate lore. It's the plot is simple enough. Hey, I beat you, you beat me, we fight. That kind of stuff makes it real simple for a young child to kind of get into it, and then fall in love with it from there. Um, but I had to go, and I started thinking about it a little bit deeper. I was like, DBZ to me is you have of course you have the big, they put them as the big four. I mean, but the characters that stand out outside of just being simple anime and manga characters. I think Goku stands above them all. Um, and I don't want to rank the other three because I like them equally the same. But I think Goku just stands out above them all. He's the most recognizable of them all. Like you show a picture of him, kids, that's Goku. You show them a picture of Luffy, they might know who he is. You show them a picture of Ichigo, they might know who he is. They might know Naruto. But Goku is, the pinnacle. And the DBC series it was simple enough to where kids could get into it, but it was also complex enough to where grown people could enjoy the fighting and that kind of stuff, the power scale and blah blah blah, the history of it. You can agree with that. Yeah, I think DBZ stands above them all, and everybody else kind of falls behind it. Now, for my Straw Hat fans, and I wanted to do this live to rant a little bit because I've been feeling like this for like the last 10 chapters of One Piece. If you're not caught up on One Piece, I want to say 1150 just dropped about a week ago. I'm to the point now with One Piece. Um, I'm starting to lose interest in the whole One Piece universe and mythology of it. I'm starting to lose interest in it. And here's why I say I'm starting to lose interest in it. It's too it's too much lore. And when you think about it, it is too much lore that we have not gotten into, that we have kind of caught a glimpse of, and Oda rushes right past it. I'm losing interest. And then this whole Elbath arc, I'm not. Yeah, introducing the demons and double contracts, and he's pulling out Emu's pulling out. For those who haven't read it, Emu is the devil, basically, evil sorcerer. Like I'm not. Listen, dude, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, and and that's part of the reason why I didn't want to introduce someone to the One Piece universe. That's you know too many unanswered questions, too much lore to kind of go over. And I'm talking about questions that people who have been following the series for, you're talking about uh I want to close to 2 decades, and we still don't know exactly what happened. I mean, let's go back to the most recent lore brush over they had, and that was the God Valley incident. Like, we got a couple panels in a chapter talking about this incident where all of these famous pirates, the Rocks pirates, the Rogers pirates, they meet up, and we just got a couple panels and moved on. I'm just not. I'm just not feel. I'm just listen. I'm just not feeling the current direction of One Piece. I mean, I'm still reading, and I still watch, the anime, and we'll kind of get into that um a little bit further. But I'm just not. I'm not feeling it, man. I'm just like it's like you're rushing, but you don't really have to. I mean, we get this is we're coming towards the end, but it's so many unanswered questions. And for those who are into the anime part of this genre, this you have so many opportunities to do filler arcs, filler episodes, and that kind of stuff. But it just the manga is just I'm just like it's all over the place. It is all over the place, and it's like I'm not liking the direction it's going. Like, now we have the devil. Yeah, the devil stuff was just so random. Um, I'm like, what? I mean, the Yonko crew. I mean, they got Buggy as a Yonko. I mean, go figure. But I'm just not. I was liking the start of Elbath. I was liking the start to that arc, but I'm just like this shit. Now the giant kids, and we're just what's going to happen with Loki. Where are the real? Let's just keep it a buck. Where are the real Straw Hats? Um, they've been gone for about 3 or 4 chapters now. I'm 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 just listen. I'm just not feeling this arc, and it's kind of like going. Yeah, Jeremy. Listen, the God Valley. I mean, you talking about major, a major opportunity to just like, what, we're gonna give you guys a break and give you some of this lore. This, we're talking about. This is where Kaido gets his devil fruit. This is where Kuma gets his devil fruit. What was the origin of this? We just go to this island, just hunt humans, other people. Like I'm just like, and it was like a couple panels, not even, no real, they went all the way there for some devil fruit. Like, I mean, it's yeah, it's definitely more than 2 episodes. Listen, I'm just not feeling the current direction. If you One Piece, die hard, and you don't want to hear that, oh well, oh the fuck well. I can't do nothing about that. But I'm just saying, I'm not feeling the direction. Maybe they can, kind of get me back into the fold with, the next couple chapters, but I'm just not feeling this direction of, the devil, like the literal devil. He's possessing bodies now. Like, what is this, man? What is this? And then we just skip over the fact that he says Marijuana is under siege, but we're focused on what's going on here, like, and your attention is here. I'm just not getting it. I'm just not getting it. Give me a sec, y'all. Yeah, Germ. I mean, listen, Germ. They're all what the Kuma backstory episodes were cool, but was it really necessary? I mean, and that's part of the problem with One Piece, man. It is so much lore that we haven't really got into. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much lore that we have kind of just brushed over. Or you get a flashback panel or two, and it's like whatever. And it's like we're still trying to figure out who Emu is. The main villain. We is he immortal? I've heard different theories that it may not be a he, it may be a she. Because you can't really tell from the voice based on the anime. Like, is it a she? Um, we got we thought we was going somewhere with the five elders, kind of being in action. It's like, okay, this is what's up. We're heading towards end game, and now we're just deviating. Now now we got devil giants. I'm just listen. I'm not feeling it, man. I'm just not feeling it. Um, and another question I had, just the other part of the title of the show. Thank you for taking the time to listen to little old me. I don't. It is what it is over here. Um, I would say, which one is more important and more important, excuse me, to the genre? Would you say the manga is more important to the genre, or is it the anime? Meaning for those who don't know what anime is, if you're new to this kind of stuff, eh, anime is, Japanese animations, primarily. This has been some Chinese, and from other countries, but we're primarily rooted in Japanese style of animation um, to tell the stories of the manga. If you ask me and someone who's kind of been in the genre for a very, very, very long time, I would say the anime is probably the the bigger component of making that engine work, because the manga, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the manga is just a comic book, and you can imagine, and through the artwork, you can imagine what how this would look on screen, and that kind of, you can use your imagination to some degree, but the anime kind of brings the story to life. It's like having a good book, and nothing saying that the book is bad, but it's different when you see it brought to life on screen. Um, Kind of takes the imagination part of it out and makes it real. And I think the anime pushes and elevates the manga to a higher level, because it's very rare you stumble into the genre just on manga. A lot of people who have gotten introduced to this, I can remember my first introduction to the genre. um Ninja Scroll, the first Ninja Scroll movie, and Akira, which it premiered on Toonami back in the day. Before I kind of even knew what manga really was, anime pulled me into the genre. Okay, what is this stuff? What is this style of animation? Where are they getting these stories from? And then you get exposed to the entire world of manga, and you don't until you get in it, you don't really realize how big that universe really is. But a lot of us get introduced through animation, through the anime, through movies, through the cartoons, through the series. You know, that's I think that's where it starts, and I think that's been the biggest piece of growing that, because at the end of the day, mangas are comic books and they're great comic books. And sometimes the mangas are better than the anime because anime is the animation style of whatever studio is or artist is producing it. But the manga is the true essence of the story. But without the animation to kind of bring it home, is you're really reading a comic book. And I think people um, who fall in love with certain animes, I mean, excuse me, certain mangas that they read, they want to see them animated. They want to see them on the big screen. They want, the move Ninja Scroll movie. Good. Thanks for the recommendation. Listen, that was my first introduction. We were talking, like think about it, Afro Samurai. A lot of stuff is rooted in manga, but this the animation of it, and and the studios, how they put it together, and having people involved. I mean, you really kind of look at it. I mean, the Boondocks is a form of anime. I mean, with this the style of it, um, and how it was presented. It was a lot of anime type elements in that show. But you need that to kind of push the genre forward. So for me, I think the anime is more important. And sometimes the anime can um, hold a series back. I mean, when you look at, let's say One Piece, for example, the different studios that have had to animate, the manga and bring it to life, it doesn't, take away from the manga. But let's keep it a buck. Sometimes, throwing the One Piece series, and the animation has been kind of mid. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Especially when we're talking about high level fight scenes, and and hockey and all of that stuff being used. Um, for me, peak animation for the One Piece series, for me, it's got to be the Wano arc. Elbaf has been cool because they kind of continue that same kind of style, but I think Wano arc, kind of took it to another level, made the stage and the art fit, the narrative. You talk about, two Yonkos against, Straw Hat Crew. So yeah, it deserved that level of animation. But sometimes, back in the day, One Piece used to be kind of listen, you missed the 90s animation style. I'm not a fan of it. Germ, not that old. No, I'm just about the closest I like to 90s animation. I would say the X-Men series, X-Men 97, the reboot, that was dope. Kind of brought back some of that. But a lot of I like that Japanese kind of style where it's a little exaggerated, but you can, they do a very good job of displaying the action. I would say a lot of anime studios do a very good job of that, of displaying the action. And they don't really, beat you down with the story, but it's really focusing on the action. But yeah, I've been waiting for since even the Scorpion. Listen, Germ, it is so much, man. When you kind of look at, comparing, another big, one of the big four. I mean, you look at Bleach. Bleach is they did a very good job, kind of and lore is a very important part of a manga. If you're going to introduce it, either if you're gonna do it on a grand scale, make sure it fits the story, and not just we're just adding stuff in here, just to add to the layers of the universe. I think Bleach did a very good job of that, especially during the thousand year blood war. That arc, I think they did a very good job, and they didn't beat you across the head with lore throughout the manga or the anime. I think they did a very good job of that. Naruto did I would say Naruto did a so-so job. I mean, it was a lot of unanswered questions, um, but they answered enough of the questions to kind of make you like, okay, cool. I'm not going to dig deeper, and it's a lot. You can dig deeper into it, and you're kind of seeing them and touching on some of the other stuff, a little bit with the Boruto series. But they did a pretty good job. One Piece, I think, is for me, has kind of dropped the ball on several occasions when they could have, hey, if you want to continue this series, and you got to think about the anime partner. Also, like, hey, this would be a great filler series while we kind of get ahead. I mean, you really kind of look at The pace of the anime and the manga. I mean, it's not, the anime is not that far behind, and typically that's not how it goes. Typically, the manga is well ahead of the anime, but this is the One Piece universe we have now. Yeah, but I wasn't surprised. I wasn't. It's too clean and polished, nice and nice today. I wasn't shocked that it. It was looking like it was trending that way before they kind of went on that break, and when they came back, um, that the studio did a very good job and have been doing a very good job, kind of telling that story and bringing that to life. Curious to see how they're going to end it off. I know how the story is, but I'm talking about as far as like the anime portion of it, because they did some kind of did some tweaks during the anime, kind of showed some stuff that that wasn't really in the manga, but they did a very good job. I was well, listen, probably the biggest disappointment for me was this Jujutsu Kaisen not coming back, having issues with the studio. Then the manga kind of ends with a and it's like I would love to see this animated, Sakuna versus Gojo, but we're yeah, if you only way you can get it now is fan made animation. But yeah, that's pretty much. I was shocked to see that. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, this channel will it'll be the manga, the anime. We talk about the latest chapters in regards to the other big four. Those are discontinued. I'm like following um Record of Ragnarok, which is, for those who don't know what that is, the manga is out, but they do have the Netflix series. I am also follow on a weekly basis the King and Omega story. For those who don't know what that is, you can kind of get caught up with that a little bit with the King and series that is also on Netflix. Netflix does a very good job of promoting um, the anime genre. So if you ever get a chance, find some old stuff and you'll find some new stuff you can kind of get into. Also on there, does a very good job of that. But I will be, I don't know, will this be weekly? I don't know, maybe review Monday or something. And kind of, talk about some of the big news as far as like One Piece chapters and that kind of stuff. We'll see. I also want to kind of, talk about, other stuff, but we'll see. Uh, yeah, Netflix does a very good job. Yeah, Netflix does a very good job of promoting it. It's gotten better at it. Um, and in a lot of they got some good Netflix series. I've watched Blood of Zeus. I don't consider that cartoon. I consider that more anime style. I watched the last season of that. That was a pretty good series that they have on there. What else have I watched recently? I mean, geez, let me pull up my Netflix history. Let me pull it up real quick. Give me a second. Uh, but yeah, we will be okay. What have I watched recently? Well, they finally got Michelle on Netflix. It's just one season, but it's been pretty cool. Um, Seven Deadly Sins. A couple of those movies was cool. For whatever reason, I've never been a Gundam fan. Sorry, not sorry. Not really a Gundam fan. The Terminator series was pretty cool. I mean, like I said, of course they got the classics on there. Castlevania was really good. But Castlevania is always. But see, Netflix is like I said, they've done a very good job in investing in that genre. The last Witcher movie they put out, it was Sirens of the Deep. That was pretty good. But Netflix does a very for you. So if you're listening to this and you're trying to get into anime, you want to the introduction. Like I said, anime is probably the easiest way to introduce you to the genre. Netflix is a good place to start. You can also look up stuff on YouTube. But if you want to dive into manga, one of the sites that I use, where you can kind of get chapters translated pretty early, is what am I using? Manga Berry right now. Yeah, I'm using Manga Berry for a lot of my trying to get my chapters as fast enough. Because if you wait for Viz to put them out, they're slow dragging. One Punch Man is also another good one. But he's the authors, he's done like 4 retcons of that series, so I'm kind of lost interest in that one too. But anyway, Black Clover, they hold on, didn't they put something out? I want to say some news came out about Black Clover on as far as Netflix. I think they're going to try to finish it out. Like I said, for me, most anticipated I guess anime for me this summer is going to be and I think it comes out this summer. I gotta double check. Matter of fact, I just do that now. I mean, hell, I ain't doing nothing else. Let me see. Demon Slayer. Give me a sec. Okay, when does it premiere? I know it comes out this year. Let me go back. Premiere. Premiere. Okay. Season 5 movie premiere. Oh, it comes out in Japan in July. Okay, cool. So I can probably catch that on the subtitles. So July 18th is when Demon Slayer Infinity Castle drops. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, about here. So thank y'all for sticking it out as I kind of struggle through this live. I like that. I like Drama Uchiha. I like that. I gotta remember. I gotta get this whole studio or this portion of the studio. For those who have StreamYard know what I mean. I gotta kind of get this together because I'm not liking. They only got like one layout, which is dope. King Kaido. I like that. Man, let me take that down. But anyway, let me get my behind up out of here. I'm only about 30 plus minutes. And like I said, we'll try to and for those that have reached out and know what's up, we'll try to get together and have a real formal Straw Hats. Hold on. Oh, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's happening, bro? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Shit, man. I'm glad you're doing the anime content, bro. Shit, I'm tapping in with you, dog.
What's going on, Jer?
Not much, man. Chilling, bro. I wanted to say something about the One Piece anime as of today.
Okay.
So, do you ever feel like the sound effects of the animation be off?
Um, I don't think they'd be off. For me, I think I think the studio that's doing it now is it's a little. I don't want to say comical with it,
Hmm.
but I think they're like over exaggerating some of the sound effects.
Facts, and that's where I was getting at because with the whole the Gear Fist stuff, right? It looks good animation wise, but when they put like the Looney Tune sound effects in there, it just throws it off for me.
It takes the seriousness away from it. I get what you're saying, um, but I get it. I mean, you got to remember, that's they like to exaggerate, have the comedy in there. When in a scene where he's you're fighting rematch with Kizaru and 5 elders, like I don't need him to be giggling and laughing.
Yeah,
Type.
right, exactly.
you kind of take away the seriousness. Now, what's your thoughts? Did you catch? Did you read the latest chapter?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, are you feeling the emu possessing and are you feeling that?
This is what's kind of puzzling to me, right?
Uh,
Mary Jo is the Holy Land is on fire right now, but Emu chose to go to Elbaf. You see what I'm saying? Like
mhm.
your home base is on fire, getting attacked by somebody, but you on Elbaf worried about the giants.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I, I also think the whole demon concept is coming out of like nowhere for me because it wasn't no type of like setup or build up to that.
No, well, take that back. It was a hint of it. Well, when he killed Saturn,
Yeah.
that okay, he can, his power kind of extends past that, but this the whole possessing and like I don't know what's going on. It's almost like he's trying to rush to something, and I'm not
Hmm.
like I'm not getting it. Like Dorian Broggy instantly, you're on my side. It's it ain't
Yeah, that was out of
trouble.
nowhere too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not. I was like, what is Oda doing with this shit? We
And my
thought.
thing is like, the ever since way back since the God Knight started doing their thing with the kids and telling everybody to burn down the library and all of this. How does Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro and them not notice that this stuff is going on?
You're supposed to suspend your imagination. But Emu shows up, and the first person he's looking for is I want Dory and Bragi. Like, where
Hmm.
let me find Sun God Nika. No, I'm I'm lost, man. I'm lost with it. But the last couple, like about 3 or 4 chapters, have been kind of mid. Like it was going in a nice direction, and it's like you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm usually not a person that likes kids in anime or
Hmm.
even in manga because it's like watching kids in movies. Like Jurassic
I
Park would
agree.
be Jurassic Park would be so much cooler without some damn 10-year old in the party. Like I'm good on that. Like when they introduced the
Hmm.
kids, I was like, man, I'm just not feeling this. I'm just like we were doing so good coming out of Egghead, and like Elbath is kind of it took for me a wrong turn. I'm just like,
And let me say something about Egghead as well. I liked Egghead. It was a pretty dope arc. It was good. It's just to me, it didn't feel like it had any stakes that deep, if that makes sense. Because you had to all five of the girls stay there, but the Straw Hats still get away. You know what I mean? It's like nobody was like, "Nah, we got to go hunt them down." Saturn was like, "Nah, just let them go." Like, are you kidding me?
well, that too, but I was kind of let down by Vegapunk's like announcement.
Yep.
Like I was like, oh, everybody's going to be underwater in X amount of years. Like, dude, this is the best. This is what you died for. The I was expecting like a big reveal, like we found out that Emu was the original such and such. Like, oh, you guys are going to drown. The world government hasn't told you that. Like, oh man. I mean, but I enjoyed the fighting. I mean, because you wasn't finna get full on Gorosei going hardcore and it being a protracted battle because the stakes wasn't really set up like it wasn't set up like um when they fought Kaido and Big Mom. It wasn't set up like
Hmm.
yo we here you gonna have to beat me to keep this island afloat because I'm finna crash it. Um the stakes was just set up like that, new school versus old school. The Gorosei, getting involved on Egghead was just like kind of like, okay, we're gonna give you a glimpse behind the curtain type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole, we finna go hardcore and really. You know, their primary mission was really to stop Vegapunk. It really wasn't, let's get the Straw Hats.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep.
But it's coming. It's coming. But this current direction, like the whole demon and devil contract, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, where did this come from? Where did this come from?
You know what I feel like? What I feel like he should have stuck with and just kept that narrative going was when Shamrock pulled up, which is Shanks' brother, right? I feel like it would have been better if he would have just been like the main antagonist of the arc or whatever, instead of Emu themselves pulling up now and about to shake some shit.
But I didn't even like listen, I didn't even like the introduction of Shamrock.
Oh, really?
I didn't like, oh, it's the twin brother. Like what is this, man? And that's like part of the problem with One Piece. Is like you'll be going along. And it's like, I'm gonna introduce something. Um, hey, this is Shamrock, his twin brother. Like what? Like people are still just wrapping their mind around Garland being Pop. You know,
Hmm.
now he's got like a twin brother, and then he has the Cerberus sword. It's I think Oda's doing too much at times.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of, like I said, that's the crazy part about if you folks that read One Piece, like we're just gonna ignore Joy Boy's hockey coming from the robot and how that affected everyone, even Emo back in the marriage walk. Like what? Like what level of hockey is that? We just kind of blow by it.
Yep. And that reminds me about the anime as well. Like it's hard to differentiate what is exact when is a character using King's hockey, when are they just using regular armament hockey. There's no consistent difference between the two as far as the anime. Even the manga, honestly, the manga
Yeah,
does it too. It's like hard to tell who is using this special hockey, but who is not. You know what I'm saying? Because you got this is when Garp and Aokiji fought, right? Garp
yeah,
clearly has King's hockey, but Aokiji was still keeping up with him using armament, but it looked like they both was using King's hockey.
yeah. Well, I
And
think
that's another issue I'll be having.
yeah. Uh, I mean, it's like for me. Listen, it's he's Oda's got so much going on with One Piece, and you know it's hard to kind of keep up with it. And it's like what's going on with this? What's going on? Like Emu says is what are you guys doing here? Instead of pulling them back and let's move along with the rest of the Elback Arth. Like nah, I'm coming here. Yeah, I guess you're gonna take the Giants back to Marriage War. That was the plan, and you're gonna do it your way with a demon. Like, what is this? Like, we're rushing. Like, when we're not gonna get an appearance from Blackbeard no time soon because he's gonna
Hmm.
figure into Endgame. Like, what's going on with the Revolutionary Army? As Sabo, kind of like spilled the beans on what's really going
Yep.
on. Like, I mean, it's like so much they kind of just we're gonna leave you with that, and then we're just gonna go in a completely different direction. Like it's too much lore. But I'm still trying to figure out what does the D stand for.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And now that you say that, this is where I'm kind of fearful that this Elbab arc is going to go into. Okay, you remember back in Dressrosa, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was so many moving parts, so many different storylines. It all just kind of became a mess towards the end of Dressrosa.
Yeah,
I feel like Elbaf might fall into that same
it's already
trap.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you that's the problem when you keep introducing characters and you keep look at all the characters that have been introduced since they've gotten to Elbath. Some of the God's Knights, characters like that, Loki being introduced, some of the other giants being introduced. We haven't seen Scamper in how long? So,
Right.
I mean, it's too much, too much. like I said, Oda, I'm just not feeling the Elbeth arc. I think for me, peak peak, and this is some recent memory in the last couple of years. I say peak arc for me is still Wano, because it didn't beat you across the head with a whole lot of lore. We gave you what you needed to know in flashbacks, but we kept it on the action. And what's that state? And I don't know what's Oda really kind of setting up. And I mean, dude, we're talking about 20 years of a manga. Like, eventually, you're gonna have to start tying some of this stuff up, man. Oh, solo dolo. But anyway, appreciate the good brother. I think the link is pinned. I'll get with Bonnie, because I didn't see her in attendance, but I'll get with her. Of course. Oh, brother. But anyway, um, so yeah, we might do something again soon. I might do something again soon. I just want to kind of work out the kinks and see what this kind of would look like in real time. And I just, it's nice to be able to chop it up with I like to call it the straw hats of the fellow nerds. Um, but like I said, we'll kind of see where it goes. Of course, it'll be a lot of One Piece talk. That's because it's current. If you're not, some recommendations I could say off the top, for you to kind of get into, if you just want to be kind of into the action and not be beat across the head with a lot of the lore behind it. Solo leveling is a good one for you to start at. That's a good one to start at. Um, Record of Ragnarok doesn't come out. Well, King and Omega is simple enough to kind of get into. But it's just a lot of good mangas. If you have some mangas you suggest, feel free to drop them in the comment section or whatever. And with that being said, I got to come up with something for over here. Matter of fact, I just ugh. Okay, let me just make that. Yeah, let's make that the outro video too. Yeah, appreciate you taking time to listen to little old me. Hopefully, we'll do this again real soon. I think Mondays is a good enough spot for right now. So we'll see. I'm open to ideas. But anyway, let me get my behind. I got to come up with a catchphrase to close out this show. I guess see you guys later, and Shadow Clone Nujutsu.